Welcome everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're undertaking a fascinating historical analysis of the extraordinary source accounts surrounding the arrival of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Now, the descriptions we have of his birth, they aren't just your standard dry historical records. They are profound, incredibly vivid accounts that immediately signal the arrival of a deeply significant figure. We're going to break down these source texts together so we can truly understand the sheer magnitude of this event exactly as it was recorded.
The text explicitly states he was not crying like ordinary children, but smiling. Okay, just pause and really think about that for a second. The very first moment of human life is, well, it's almost universally marked by tears, right? The shock of entering the world. But here, the source deliberately sets up an immediate, totally striking contrast. This wasn't a standard arrival at all. It was an awe-inspiring first moment, characterized by absolute peace and joy.
Section 1. The Wondrous Night of Birth, a Miraculous Arrival. Now, this whole profound story unfolds in a surprisingly tight, compressed time frame. It begins at a very specific starting point, a quarter of the night, or what the original text refers to as Sava Pahar Rat. Then, there's an immediate reaction the very next morning when a pundit is summoned. And finally, the whole thing culminates exactly 13 days later. This rapid sequence of events really highlights just how quickly those present realized they were witnessing absolute history in the making. So the birth took place at Sava Pahar Rat. Try to picture the setting here. It's the deep, quiet, profoundly dark quarter of the night. The whole world is asleep. There's this heavy stillness. The source text actually goes out of its way to emphasize this dark nighttime atmosphere. Why? Well, it sets the stage for the miraculous, almost unbelievable sensory shift that was about to happen in that very room.
Section 2. A unique infant, defying expectations.
Like we just talked about, normally you'd expect a dark, heavy night and a crying, typical newborn. But the reality recorded in the text, it was a smiling infant in an atmosphere that completely defied the time of day. The text explicitly tells us that even in the thick of the night, the radiance in the room was so intense, it felt as though the midday sun had suddenly risen. I mean, can you imagine the sheer wonder of a pitch-black room suddenly feeling bathed in the bright, warm glow of a midday sun? It's a completely stunning visual used to convey a divine presence.
Naturally, this glowing radiance and the child's incredibly unusual, peaceful demeanor had a massive emotional impact. The child's father, Mehetakaluji, knew right away that this was no ordinary situation. The text tells us that the very next morning, literally without any delay, Mehetakalu urgently summoned Pandit Harjal to their home. He needed an expert, someone who could read the cosmos and explain exactly what they had just witnessed.
Section 3. The Pandit's Prophecy, Cosmic Destiny.
Upon arriving, the text notes that the pundit went in to have the darshan, the blessed sight of the child. He closely examined the infant's physical features, his eyes, his face, and began to chart his horoscope. And as he studied the baby, he recognized deeply auspicious, undeniable signs. There's a profound reverence in the text in this moment. The pundit realized he wasn't just looking at a special child, he was looking at a world-shifting destiny.
And this brilliantly illustrates the specific, awe-inspiring outcomes the pundit foresaw. He declared that the infant signs were so remarkably auspicious that this child was destined to become a Chakravarti Raja, a universal monarch whose influence would span the globe. Or, actually, he noted the child could become someone even greater than a king. The pundit explicitly stated that a canopy, which is a symbol of ultimate spiritual and temporal sovereign authority, would always sway over his head. He was predicting absolute, unmatched reverence.
Section 4. Naming, Guru Nanak, sealing the prophecy. The source text is very, very precise here. Exactly 13 days after those celestial signs of his birth and the staggering prophecies made by the pundit, the formal naming ceremony took place. 13 days of the family reflecting on that midday sun in the midnight hour and the promise of a universal monarch.
To choose a name fitting for such a massive prophecy, Pandit Hardayal was once again called upon. The text tells us he consulted the Patri, the traditional astrological almanac. He looked at the cosmic alignments, the exact charting of the stars from that miraculous night, just to lock in the absolute perfect designation for the child. Everything had to perfectly align with the destiny he had foreseen.
And from that careful, deliberate consultation of the almanac, the historical name was bestowed. Pandit Hardayal and the father, Matakalu, gave the child the name Nanak. In that very moment, the prophecy was officially sealed. The smiling infant who brought the midday sun into the dark night now had the name that would echo through centuries.
So what does this all mean? How did these early celestial signs lay the foundation for the historic spiritual legacy of Guru Nanak Dev Ji we recognize today? It's a powerful question to reflect upon. When we understand the profound, awe-inspiring details of his very first moments, the light, the peace, the prophecy of universal reverence, we gain a much deeper appreciation for the monumental, historical, and spiritual figure he became. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer of the source text. I hope this breakdown illuminated this incredible history for you. Keep learning and stay curious.